Matt Cain and Tim Lincecum are Giant All-Stars.
You want to get on TV? Josh wants on TV.
Pablo Sandoval almost was, and of course is in the eyes of Giants fans everywhere.
Pablo, yeah! Woo!
Jonathan Sanchez silenced his critics with an amazing performance, something that hadn't been accomplished by a Giant in 33 years.
Strike three call! Jonathan Sanchez has thrown a no-hitter.
Inside the clubhouse, 10 days in July is a microcosm for what has already been an electric season at the ballpark by the Bay.
I'm staying very safe here.
Well, the baseball party this year is at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and both Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain have an invitation. For Cain, it will be his All-Star debut. For Lincecum, it's his second All-Star selection, but after missing the 2008 Midsummer Classic with the flu, it will be his first All-Star appearance. This All-Star pitching duo may be joined by a third Giant, as Pablo Sandoval was named one of 5 National League candidates to fill the 33rd All-Star roster spot.
Just before the Giants took on the Astros, Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, and Pablo Sandoval were part of a press conference announcing Giants All-Star representatives, the culmination of a great first half by this Giants trio.
It's great. I mean, it's awesome to be able to share with teammates in consecutive seasons like this. With Wilson last year.
It's obviously a thing that, kind of in a hunt, through the first half of the season, and definitely something that I'd always wanted to do.
Too much for me, being happy. You think when you was little kid, you was in your house playing like little league. You think you play one day in the big leagues, like in the All-Star game.
Hey, Matt and Tim, what could you put into perspective or into words what Pablo has meant to you and just how deserving he is to winning that extra vote?
He's been huge, obviously. I think, how many home runs do you have right now?
12.
You have 12? And I'd probably say about 8 of them were hitting my game. So, he's been huge. He's been huge for me, I know. And I know they've come in big situations.
It's also the excitement he brings to the game. Fans love watching him play. He's like that guy that people want to be around. He's the guy that makes everybody else better.
Tough when you come from Latin country, come here fighting and get to one of the best players in the other countries. For me is too much,
As these 3 players left this press conference, they could not have known what was in their immediate future over the course of the next 10 days. And not just for Cain, Lincecum, and Sandoval, but for their Giants teammates and the entire baseball world. The Pablo campaign begins. Sandoval is one of 5 finalists for the final roster spot on the NL All-Star team. All were poised for some unforgettable moments.
I don't know. Tell me if this is good or not, Chance.
Campaign? Do you have a campaign manager?
Nobody, but...
How does it feel to see everybody wearing the stickers, vote for Pablo, everybody? They have signs on their back. How does it make you feel?
Excited.
Yeah.
Excited for that,
High drive, left field, out of here. Vote for Pablo. A grand slam for Sandoval, and it's 5-0.
Pablo Sandoval made a statement, answering his critics and creating a charge. It was time to vote Pablo.
Yeah, we have a Pablo Sandoval voting total update.
Here we go. Dan, Tony, this is where Dan's being hypnotized by Larry.
Gary,
We're talking about a guy who died, and Dan says we have to interrupt it because Larry said so.
Gary, every time a vote is cast here within KNBR, you will hear that sound indicating that another vote has been passed.
Giants fans rallied behind Pablo, and their efforts garnered him 10 million votes. But the Phillies' Shane Victorino had more and wound up making the trip to St. Louis. St. Louis was also the destination for Matt Cain and Tim Lincecum. But not before history was made yet again in San Francisco, when Inside the Clubhouse 10 Days in July returns. The Giants found out their teammate Pablo Sandoval didn't make the All-Star team at 1 o'clock. A few hours later, Tim Lincecum took the mound against the Padres.
Got him. See ya. Got him.
Lincecum finishes the first half of the season with a win, striking out 8 Padres in a 9-3 Giants victory. Consistent with the 2009 season, one big home performance usually leads to another. You never know what will happen on the corner of 3rd and King. Pitcher Jonathan Sanchez, relegated to the bullpen for the better part of 2 weeks and all but forgotten, returned with a bang.
Rowan on the move. Rowan makes the catch. 2 down in the ninth. Strike 3 call. Jonathan Sanchez has thrown a no-hitter here at AT&T Park. As the Giants come storming out of their dugout. The last no-hitter for the Giants, September 1976. John the Count Montefusco. What a night for the kid.
I've never seen a no-hitter, and I got to see a no-hitter.
Unreal.
It's amazing.
I don't think anybody here is surprised that he threw a no-hitter, because he has the stuff for it.
Just had awesome stuff, you know, good fastball, good slider, and a split when he needed it.
It's just something special. You get pumped, and the fans, you know, the part of this too, everybody, teammates, and that was a great moment.
I've told him that his stuff's as good as anybody's in the rotation.
I wasn't thinking about the no-hitter until the last inning. Anyway, I had to out in the last inning. I said, okay, it's time to get a no-hitter. I got the guy in 3 strikes. I said, I'm going to throw my nastiest pitch I can have. I mean, I threw it and I struck him out. I was so happy. I can't explain it.
Estoy demasiado contento, alegre. Es la primera vez que vengo a San Francisco. Y pues parece que Dios me premió por ser la primera vez que vengo a San Francisco que mi hijo tiraba un no-hitter.
Baseball has brought fathers and sons together for generations, but this is not just any other baseball. Just waiting for their luggage was an adventure for Matt Cain and Tim Lincecum. Their arrival in St. Louis caused quite a stir. Dozens of autograph seekers even followed Lincecum and his family to the far corners of Lambert International Airport.
In 30 years of covering baseball. And that's the team that he was given by Jim Bowden, the former
the honorary president of the National League, Bill Giles, who was just commenting that the knit cap worn by Tim Lincecum is very similar to the one fashioned by Jim Bunning for his Phillies in years gone by. Tim, some quick remarks on the honor of being a starting pitcher.
First off, this is this is a great accomplishment for me. I think tomorrow the big thing is just going to be getting to the field getting on the field. So I'm just excited to be around the team again. This whole experience, the home run derby, the whole shebang, I guess. So thanks for having me.
Tim, in light of your misfortune last year, are you going to take any special steps tonight, like lock yourself in a germ-free room?
Just gonna load up on a bunch of liquids, trying to get dehydrated. Gonna have Matt Cain put a leash around my neck, keep me in my room. So other than that, that's pretty much all we got planned.
Hey, shake hands, guys.
Is it bad that I look like his date?
Sure, this was just another press conference, but not for Tim. He was announced as the starter for the National League All-Star team. This 25-year-old budding superstar captivated the crowd before, during, and after the gathering.
Yeah, I'm sure deep down people do feel it, but at the same time, it's like this is either the year that we come out of it or we stay in it. So I think that we're worried about now and not about the past. No, that's great. I mean, Matty has been awesome all year. I mean, obviously it's nice to him for to finally reap some benefits of what he's been doing the last couple of years. I mean, he's thrown out three-something ERAs, and his record is not inclusive of what that should be of. So.
Eclectic. I think that would be the word I would choose, and that's one of the things I love about him, fans love about him. He's different. He's different both in the way he goes about it on the mound, that unique tornado delivery, and obviously showing up at the All-Star press conference in a skull cap. That's not what you see every day.
We love Tim Lincecum. What's not to love? He like Zach Greinke, a guy who didn't come necessarily from Central Casting. A guy who's got an offbeat story. He's a terrific guy to watch pitch.
And the thought that guy right there, looking like that, can go out on that mound and completely overpower bigger, stronger guys is one reason why we should love the game. This can't happen in basketball. It can't happen in football. It happens all the time in this sport, and he is the perfect example of why.
I'm old enough to remember watching Juan Marichal pitch. It was a different thing, but his style was distinctive. Or Luis Tiant, style was distinctive. If you didn't know anything about baseball and you went to the ballpark, you saw Tim Lincecum, you go, who's that? He's not like anybody else, and he seems to be a free-spirited guy, seems to enjoy it. That's something that transmits to fans. When someone's enjoying it and there's a smile on their face and a bounce in their step, that's infectious. So what's not to like about this guy?
As for Matt Cain, who was making his first All-Star appearance, he took this line drive off the bat of the Padres' Tim Stauffer, relegating Cain to the role of spectator in St. Louis.
Yeah, this has been a fun week. We got the vote for Pablo all week long, and then we got to see Timmy throw great, and then Sanchez to go out there and throw a no-hitter was I don't think that'll be a sight to forget ever.
So with Matt out, the sole focus was on Lincecum. Needless to say, he was the topic of conversation amongst the All-Stars, both national and American leaguers.
Well, I think I'll probably get a chance to face Tim Lincecum in my first at-bat. I don't know if I'm looking forward to that. I've never faced him before, and I saw the consecutive scoreless streak he threw up there. This is, Cy Young winner, one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in baseball right now.
He's pretty impressive. He really is. He's no question. He deserved the Cy Young last year, and he's pitching like it again this year.
Obviously, one of the best, arguably the best pitcher in baseball. So that's what that's what these games are for, is to get those guys out there and pit the best against the best, I guess. So just glad he won't be throwing all 9, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I heard he's got great stuff. He knows how to pitch. It's quite a challenge when you face him, so we'll see what happens.
Good abilities, great arm.
He's just gotten better. That's the bottom line, is that the kid just keeps getting better and better, and every year I think he becomes a smart pitcher, and he's got the best stuff, or some of the best stuff in the game. Sometimes when I step in the box against your guys' whole staff, with him, Cain, Zito finding his groove now, and Sanchez doing what he's done. That's a good pitcher staff. I'll put it that way.
All-Star programs here.
Yeah. We got video of them, video of us.
Camera action.
The crew. Walks in the hotel. Yeah, walks through. I just. It's just where are you going?
As he wakes up for the game, Timmy's still out there signing probably.
Because of his elbow injury, Kane didn't throw a baseball his entire time in St. Louis. Meanwhile, Lincecum prepared for his start the next night. He also tried to satisfy the overwhelming need for his time.
Even with the award, it's sometimes tough to just look back and say, wow, I was a Cy Young winner, and try to go somewhere from that. But you just try to make improvements, try to become better that day, and have fun. I can't think of anybody that I'm intimidated by. More excited than anything. And like I said before, I was definitely excited to face. I want to face Joe Mauer, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm just gonna try to mix my pitches. I mean, it's only for 2 innings, so I won't have to just use 2 pitches. I can try to use all of them.
Quick sway into the ballpark, cutting gate 4 and gate 5.
All-star programs here, programs. All-star programs here, programs. All-star programs here, programs.
Unbelievable to be that little and that powerful, and he's unbelievable, best pitcher in the game right now, I think.
He's a good guy, classy guy, and handles himself pretty well, and I like Tim.
He's a great pitcher. He has a great curveball, great slider.
He's a good story about perseverance, about the willingness to keep with something that matters to you, and he's a good role model, I think, for kids because of that. I mean, his ability to overcome perhaps his stature or what other people said about him over time, to just still go out there and do what he loves doing.
The young man just represents a new generation in baseball, and it's just wonderful to see, long hair and just guys just going out there and having fun for baseball, not any of the, technical parts of baseball. Just that's what the Giants represents, are a bunch of young men that are just out there having fun.
I'm going to give you Tim Lincecum. Start with the National League starter.
With the learning coming off that Cy Young Award, he's getting his breaking pitches over the plate. And for guys that have not seen him pitch before, you swing a lot of times at that delivery before you're actually really seeing the ball.
For those who don't see Lincecum pitch regularly, they were eager to witness the reigning Cy Young Award winner in person. Meanwhile, his teammate Matt Cain was just taking in the moment.
Front foot, no. Yeah, more. Yeah. Got to get way out there. Same swing, both sides. Unbelievable. Crazy, huh? Yeah, and he hits it. Hard. Trying to mess it up. Huh? You want to get on TV? Josh wants on TV. You look.
You look. There we go. You got sick. You sat next to me at the home run derby. The next thing I know, you're sick.
Take a couple days. Let it just kind of relax. And play catch on Thursday.
To the first pitch strike to get started.
So we're all trying to win. It all means the same thing to all of us. It's a big deal. So.
You got a second?
Situation, just being part of this is kind of nerve-wracking just because it's such a notice level. There's so many people here, it's magnified. The goddamn president's going to be here today.
Timmy can do it pretty good. He got in the cage the other day. He hit right-handed and it looked good.
I did that back in my old high school days.
From the San Francisco Giants, Matt Cain.
And entering the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the San Francisco Giants, Tim Lincecum.
He is a remarkable young man, only 25 years old. As Joe said, last year's Cy Young Award winner, 10-2 this year. The only time he's pitched in St. Louis this season, he beat the Cardinals 11-0. One of 13 shutouts thrown by Giant pitchers this year.
Tim Lincecum throws 2 innings, gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, and strikes out 1. He didn't get the decision, but he did decide that this was definitely a learning experience, something that could work to Tim and the Giants' advantage down the stretch.
You know, nerves got to me a little bit. I was definitely anxious out there. A lot of heartbeats in that first inning, but a lot of guys that I talked to about this, they kind of compare it to playoff kind of type atmosphere with the, with the adrenaline and the excitement, and the atmosphere exactly is just almost completely the same. This whole shindig has been great for me and and Maddie, and just wanted to live it up and wanted to remember hopefully.
Inside the Clubhouse, 10 Days in July has chronicled a select but very significant piece of the 2009 season for the San Francisco Giants. A young star emerged onto the international stage.
Vote for Pablo.
A diamond in the rough finally shined at the perfect moment. And 2 All-Stars made what many believe will be a routine summer stop for them. We hope you have enjoyed Inside the Clubhouse 10 Days in July. This has been an SFG Productions presentation.